Greetings, I'm Brandon Sewell. This is Conscious Sports Talk Week 2 predictions. Alright, so the first game is the Jets versus the Bills. Originally, I had the Jets winning this game, and that was for the reason that, there was support that Sammy Watkins wasn't going to play, and then today he's cleared to play. As well as they put 7 sacks on the Bengals last Sunday, and that's the most sacks the Bengals have ever given up since 2011. In which they drafted Andy Dalton and A.J. Green. But, with Sammy Watkins out there and Rex Ryan coaching against his old team, the New York Jets, I see a lot of, revenge-type energy, animosity, galvanizing the troops. And as well as Tyrod Taylor with that Michael Vick ability as far as escaping from pressure. And that's one thing that, athletic quarterbacks can do is when the pocket collapses, they can create on their feet. And so I see it's going to be a very close game. It can really go either way, but I have a feeling the Bills are going to pull this one out. Next game is the Saints versus the Giants. I have the Giants winning this game, even though I like the Saints offense as far as they have a young receiver, Snead. But I like the Giants. I like that Victor Cruz is back and Odell Beckham Jr. and all the money they spent on defense. I see the Giants pulling this one out. It should be a good game. Next game is the Titans versus the Lions. So once again, I'm picking the Titans again. I see eventually that running game starting to take over with DeMarco Murray and Henry from Alabama. And they playing the Lions. Lions don't have a great defense, but they can put up a lot of points, as we've seen over the weekend against the Colts. But, yeah, so I just see, the run game being dominant. And, of course, the passing attack from Detroit. But I think it's going to be a close score. And I see the Titans pulling this one out. Next game, Cowboys versus the Redskins. I see the Cowboys winning this game as well. The Redskins, they have a great offense. They didn't show that on Monday night, but, I think they're going to eventually have a decent season. Kirk Cousins looked iffy, man. He was throwing passes at dudes' ankles on slant routes. You can't do that as a professional quarterback, but, I just see Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott, Dez Bryant getting involved this week, and they doing some damage. So I got the Cowboys beating the Redskins. Next game, the Chiefs versus the Titans. I put a star on my notes. So I'm thinking Chiefs versus the Texans, because I believe this is going to be the game of the week. The Chiefs came back last week. I was happy because I had them beating the Chargers for a minute. When I was watching the game, I'm like, damn, these guys is behind for real. But they came back. But I got the Texans beating this one. I feel like it's going to be a close game, a great game. But I feel like the Texans defense is going to do some damage. And then Jadeveon Clowney is going to step up this year, and plus all the acquisitions I spoke on that last week with the Texans. So that should be a good game of the week for me. Next game, Dolphins versus the Patriots. I predicted last week that the Patriots was going to beat the Cardinals, and they did that. It's just the system, man. It's the system. And Bill Belichick has been doing it forever, And the Dolphins, they have talent. It wasn't a blowout game from the Seahawks versus the Dolphins, but it's again, it's the Patriots. So I'm picking the Patriots over the Dolphins for the system, the schematics. Next game, Ravens versus the Browns. Last week I had the Ravens losing, but I'm picking the Ravens to win this week. RG3 is probably out for the year. Josh Gordon is not going to be back for a while still from the suspension. And the Ravens seem poised for a big comeback this season, So I'm picking the Ravens. Next game is my upset of the week, upset alert. 49ers versus the Panthers. I'm picking the 49ers. The 49ers run game. Carlos Hyde, like I said, poised for a big year, had a great game on Monday night. And they had put a lot of pressure on the team they were playing. And Cam Newton, I love Cam Newton. Of course, quarterbacks that look like that, as a person who I look like, I have to support. But he's showing me, that if you can put pressure on him, he's a little shaky. So I'm not saying the 49ers defense is as good as the Broncos, but, I see them putting pressure on him and pulling this one out. Close game, though. Next game, a biased opinion, Bengals versus Steelers. It's going to be a great game. This is going to be a great game. But for some reason, I see the Bengals winning by about 6 points, 2 field goals. It should be a good game. I feel like they should run a lot in that game. And Steelers, like I said, they're dominant. They're looking good. But it's going to be a good game. But I'm picking the Bengals. I can't, it's who they all day, baby. All right. Buccaneers versus the Cardinals. I'm picking the Buccaneers. I guess this could be another upset alert. But I'm going with Jameis versus Carson. I feel like this could be the game where Jameis, establishes himself versus another top-tier quarterback. And they both have similar offenses. What the Cardinals have Fitzgerald and Michael Floyd, two big twin towers, as well as the Buccaneers having Mike Evans and Vincent Jackson. Cardinals defense is better, but I have a feeling that Jameis is going to make some plays this weekend. It's going to be beautiful. So I'm picking the Bucs over the Cardinals. Next game, Seahawks versus the Rams. My notes for this is easy win, but it's the NFL. Nothing's easy, just like in life. So but that seemed like everybody might pick that one. I'm taking that. Seahawks versus the Rams. Next game, Falcons versus the Raiders. I'm picking the Falcons. I'm going with the run game. They have a nice two young running backs with Freeman and Coleman and Julio. He said he's getting healthy. And Sanu had a couple good plays last week. Sanu from the Bengals, so I think they can pull that one out. The Raiders, I picked them last week, and they won their game in like 2-point conversion. I love the Raiders, but I feel like the Falcons is going to win this game to balance out that 1-1 record. Next game, Jaguars versus Chargers. I'm going with the Jags. I picked the Jags last week to beat the Packers, but they lost, and that was on a 4-for-1 red zone, to win the game type of deal. I feel like it's going to be a close game, and Jaguars once again could be on the position to win this in the final drive. Next game, Colts versus the Broncos. I'm going with the Broncos. Like I said, Andrew Luck is poised for a comeback season. But you see what the Broncos did to Cam Newton in the Super Bowl. You see what they did to him in the first game of the season. And I don't see Andrew Luck being able to maneuver out of that situation either. So the Broncos are going to win that game. And possibly, I wrote in my notes that Andrew Luck can get injured in that game. So that's a possibility. The Packers versus the Vikings. I'm going with the Packers. It should be a great Week 2 game. I see Aaron Rodgers stepping it back up. The Vikings surprised me last week because I love the Vikings. Mike Zimmer and Teddy Bridgewater went out, so I kind of had some doubt on them, but they look good. This could still be a close game, but I'm picking the Packers. Last game, Eagles versus the Bears. I'm going with the Bears. The Bears surprised me in Week 1, even though they lost to the Texans, as well as Carson Wentz surprised me. But I feel like the Bears defense showed a great pass rush in Week 1 against the Texans. And with their young guys, Leonard Floyd on the end and Eddie Goldman at deep tackle. So I feel like the Bears are going to win this game. It's my last game with predictions, and we'll get back to you on the recap. Peace, love, rah, all right.